And so I am surprised. I thought I already made a conference realignment like this, but I haven't. So, without further ado, this is the most regional conference realignment I've ever done. So I'm blending in G6 teams with Power 4 teams in same conferences, and geographically and regionally, it makes sense. So here's the American Conference, aka the Big East. So this is the only conference that I have divisions in because this is the largest conference since there's so many teams back east. This is the largest conference. There's 18 teams in this conference. So you have in the Big East North, and I think this makes sense. The Big East North is Army, Boston College, Delaware, Buffalo, Rutgers, Syracuse, UConn, Temple, and UMass in the Big East North. And then the Big East South is James Madison, Marshall, Navy, Maryland, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Virginia, and West Virginia. And the Big East Championship game is played at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, where the Eagles play. That is where the championship game will be played in the Big East. And then the ACC, so this is the Florida Georgia Conference. The Florida Georgia Conference, all only teams in Florida and Georgia. No divisions. So you have FIU, Florida Atlantic, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Georgia Southern, Kennesaw State, Miami, UCF, and South Florida. And the conference championship game is at Everbank Stadium, which is where in Jacksonville, where the Jaguars play. I thought that was pretty central location, and I have rivals on. And then the Big Ten Conference. So this is like a mix of like the Big Ten and also the MAC teams. This I was gonna put Notre Dame in here, but that would have made me have 17 teams in this conference. It would have been uneven, and it would have been hard to make it even. So I had to make Notre Dame an independent. They're the only independent team. But the Big Ten, it has Akron, Ball State, Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Kent State, Indiana, Eastern Michigan, Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio, Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio, Western Michigan, Toledo, Purdue, Ohio State. And it's just played in Indiana like it is in real life at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, and rivals are on. So that's the Big Ten. The Big 12 is just all Texas and Oklahoma, those two states. So all 13 FBS teams in Texas and all 3 FBS teams in Oklahoma. No divisions. So Big 12, so Baylor, Houston, North Texas, Oklahoma, Sam Houston, SMU, Rice, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas, Texas A&M, Texas State, UTSA, UTEP, Tulsa, Texas Tech, and that's it for the Big 12. And the Big 12 title game is played at AT&T Stadium like in real life in Dallas. Rivals are on. Conference USA, this is not really a conference. These are just teams that, that's still regional here. These 5 teams with the state of Alabama and Mississippi. So Jacksonville State, South Alabama, Southern Miss, Troy, and UAB. So didn't really know what to do with them. And then independent, of course, is Notre Dame. And then the Mid-American Conference. So this is the middle, exactly geographically the middle of the United States. So right center of the map of the United States, this conference. So you have Illinois, Iowa, Iowa State, Kansas, Missouri State, Missouri, Minnesota, Kansas State, Northern Illinois, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. And I couldn't find a center championship game location for this. The closest one was the one in Detroit. That's where the MAC used to be. But we have no team in Michigan here. So the conference championship game has to be played that has at least one team in that state, and this doesn't have any team in Michigan, this conference. So I just had the conference championship game be conference leader home, so it's going to be on campus at the host winner for this. So, of course, rivals are turned on. Now the Mountain West. So, 14 teams. So, Air Force, Arizona, Arizona State, BYU, Nevada, Colorado State, Colorado, Boise State, New Mexico State, UNLV, Utah, Wyoming, and Utah State. In the Mountain West title game is at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And rivals are turned on. And then the Pac-12, it's all Pacific West teams, all on the Pacific line. So California, Fresno State, Hawaii, Oregon, Stanford, San Jose State, San Diego State, Oregon State, UCLA, USC, Washington, and Washington State. Rivals are turned on, and the conference championship game is at SoFi Stadium in around LA, where the Chargers play. And then the SEC, I think this is 16 teams in this conference. So you have Alabama, Arkansas State, Auburn, Louisiana Tech, Louisiana, LSU, Kentucky, Louisville, Memphis, Middle Tennessee, Mississippi State, ULM, Tulane, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, and Western Kentucky. Actually, I think this has 18 teams. 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, 18 teams in the SEC. Because the two most areas that have the most teams in the United States is the South and the East. Like the Eastern United States and the South have the most teams. So that's why the American, a.k.a. Big East, and the SEC are the two largest conferences. Oh, and the conference championship game is being played at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, because there's 5 teams in Louisiana in this conference, so it's like regional for everyone. And then last conference is the Sun Belt Conference, so this is just the Carolina Conference with a couple Virginia teams. So it's basically the Carolina Conference, so Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Charlotte, Clemson, NC State, Liberty, East Carolina, Duke, North Carolina, Old Dominion, South Carolina, and Wake Forest. And the conference championship game is played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. And of course, rivals are turned on. So that is my most regional geographic conference realignment I've ever done. And if you don't like small schools or group of 5 teams making it in your dynasty in the playoff, this is a great way to eliminate those teams, because there's no way that any of these group of 5 teams in these conferences with Power 4 teams, there's no way they're going to be like undefeated or anything like that. So all the teams that you're going to get year in and year out in your dynasty with this conference realignment, since it's mixed, is all Power 4 teams in the 12-team playoff. You're not going to have any group of 5 teams in the 12-team playoff. Unless somehow in the Conference USA, if one of these teams like goes undefeated, since they have an easy conference and they might play easy teams in non-conference, the only way a group of 5 team can make the playoff is if one of these teams, stands out, if they run the table with their easy schedule. That's the only way. But the most Power 4 team, or the most group of 5 teams you can have, is just one of these teams. One would make it, but chances are one of them wouldn't make it, and they would probably play Notre Dame and get crushed. So that is my most regional conference realignment. I think I've made a couple videos kind of like this, but it's not exactly like this. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and too bad college football wasn't like this. It would be every conference is like balanced of like Power 4 teams and group of 6 teams competing against each other, and it's regional. All right.